All right, everybody, welcome back. Here we are, another Brash Plus exclusive. Today we are going to dive into our NBA and NHL playoff brackets. We've been teasing this in previous episodes, but now it's time. We have our hockey expert joining us to guide us along the NHL playoffs because Josh and I, we just made picks. No real logic behind it.
Like this.
No, it was just, let's just pick how many, the winner, how many games. And I feel pretty good about my final, but everything leading up to that is a hot mess. But we're going to let Daniel get things kicked off with the NHL playoffs. We're going to go round by round. So, Daniel, go ahead, my friend. Let's go ahead and get started for round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Who you got and how many games?
All right. Thanks for having me on again, guys.
Always.
So we're going to start with the Eastern Conference, and the overall number one seed is the Boston Bruins. By far, had a historic season. Has the record for most points now, most wins regular season. I don't know what their goalie coach does, but man, it's incredible what they're doing there. They're playing.
They're playing.
They are. God damn it. I wonder if he can still hear us. Daniel, we lost you, bud. We lost you.
Well, if there's one thing we all know about the Bruins, it's that they're playing.
I think that's his pick. I think that's what I got out of it.
Well, they are playing.
They're clean. Uh-oh, his laptop crashed. It's just sometimes it's just not meant to be. We do what we can here at Brash Sports. And these Brash Plus exclusives, they just throw us into the fire.
Yeah, for sure. And we would upgrade our tech here, but we just aren't charging enough for the Brash Plus. So we're going to have to up the price from $99.99 to $129.99 per month in order to keep this thing going.
Yeah. If you want a better product, you got to pay a hefty price.
Pay more.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's just the way it works. That's basic economics.
Well, I guess, while we're waiting, what do you say we just kind of fly through our first round? I don't think Daniel will mind.
No, not at all. Not at all. So
I mean, we're flying. So here we go. Go, Josh. What you got?
All right. Well, Daniel started in the Eastern Conference. I'll go in the Eastern Conference as well. First round, I've got Boston over Florida in 5 games. Next up, I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning over the Toronto Maple Leafs in 4 games because I think Toronto is historically bad in the playoffs every year. Like they just always lose. So that's one of the few sweeps I've got. Next up, I've got the Carolina Hurricanes over the New York Islanders in 7. Go Canes. I've been to a Canes game. They're fun.
Nice.
So that's why I went with them. And I've got the New Jersey Devils over the New York Rangers in 6.
Ooh, all right.
Moving on to the Western Conference, I've got the Colorado Avalanche over the Seattle Kraken in 5 games because I like the Avalanche. That's the reason.
Okay.
Next up, I've got the Minnesota Wild over the Dallas Stars in 5 games. The reason behind that is I always go with the cold weather team. If it's a cold weather versus a not cold weather, I tend to lean toward the cold weather team just because that makes sense to me. Minnesota feels like a hockey pick. Next up, I'm going to completely contradict what I just said and go with the Vegas Knights over the Winnipeg Jets. Arguably, the team that plays in the hottest place versus the team that plays in the coldest place. I'm just going to go ahead and contradict everything I just said.
Well done.
So the Vegas Knights in 6, and then I've got the Edmonton Oilers sweeping the Los Angeles Kings, because what do they know about hockey in LA? Nothing. Edmonton, I think, is the furthest north of any professional sports team in the in North America. So they've got to be good at hockey. They have that young kid too. I can never remember his name, but he's like lighting the world on fire. So I went with Edmonton, sweeping the Kings.
Nice. Yeah, you and I only differ on 3 games in the first round. Surprise, surprise.
Wow.
So we looks like Daniel is joining us again. Daniel, can you hear us, my friend?
Right. Yes, I got out of the cabin in the woods. I'm back. So
all right,
okay,
yeah.
welcome.
It's
Welcome back to society.
It's all good, buddy. We were able to get Josh going. He went through his entire first round. So,
right.
just while we were
All
waiting
right.
for you, but we'll let you get back to it.
Okay. All right. Bruins
Good timing.
in 4. Yeah. Boston, Florida, Bruins in 4.
All right.
Toronto and Tampa Bay, which is always a very tough series. I actually have the Maple Leafs in 6 in that series.
Okay.
I don't think Tampa's nearly as good and solid as they usually have been. And going over, it's Carolina and the New York Islanders. I think Carolina is going to run them over, but they're going to win in 5.
All right.
And then I have the Devils Rangers, and I have the Rangers in 7 in that series.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Rangers are a much improved team, and they now have Patrick Kane, an ace in the hole. So I think that's going to be a team that goes pretty far. In the Western Conference, we got Colorado, the defending Stanley Cup champion, versus the Seattle Kraken in their second year making the playoffs. And I think this is going to be an interesting series. I've got the Avalanche in 6 in that series because if you look at the season series, that was a pretty competitive series all year. For Dallas and Minnesota, I've got the Stars in 6. And let me see. Okay. And Vegas Golden Knights with the Winnipeg Jets, I have Vegas in 5. And the Oilers and Kings, always a very entertaining series. I've got the Oilers in 7 in that series.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Feel a lot better about my first round after hearing you go.
Me too, man. I mean, there's a lot more similarities than there are
Mhm.
dissimilarities. So thank you, Daniel.
All right.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Go in the same what is it? The same order that you guys went with. So I went with the Boston Bruins, getting the big Boston Brooms out, getting the sweep over the Florida Panthers in 4. Got the Tampa Bay Lightning knocking out the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6. I got the Hurricanes beating the Islanders in 5, moving right along. And, this one, I don't know. There's just something about those New Jersey Devils that the Devils. I got the Devils beating the New York Rangers in a very exciting series in the 7th game. Let's go right to my biggest upset of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. That's right. I got the Seattle Kraken beating the defending champion Colorado Avalanche in 7. And the Avalanche won't know what to do because they'll be shocked that it goes to 7 and the Kraken somehow get it done and they knock out the defending champs.
Wow.
I got Josh, you almost convinced me to change my pick here, but I went with the Dallas Stars to beat the Wild. And not only do I have the Stars winning against Minnesota, I have them getting their brooms out as well, getting the sweep, couple of sweeps in the first round. The Vegas Golden Shower Knights, Josh, they against the Winnipeg Jets. I got the Knights winning in 6. And the Edmonton Oilers, Kings, Daniel was saying that this one is, apparently this series has a lot of history to it. So I'm really happy that I have the Oilers getting the victory in 7. So I have 3 7-game series and 2 sweeps in my first round prediction for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Very nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I always think of Stanley Cup series going 7 games. I feel like there's a higher percentage of NHL series going to 7 versus NBA. But I could be totally wrong there. That's just
I feel that
gut
way
feeling.
too.
Yeah. You typically it is. Yeah, you're right.
Which is why I only have one series going to 7 games. All right, moving on to second round. I'll go ahead and lead things off since I did the first wave of the first round.
Why not?
Back to the East. The matchup is the Boston Bruins versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going with the upset here and going with Tampa Bay just because they have been staples in this league. I think Boston's going to be tired at some point because they've just been killing it all year. So just the gut feeling was Tampa Bay and Stamkos. Stamkos is still with them, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. That's why I picked them.
Okay.
Next up, I've got the Carolina Hurricanes over the Devils. Probably like 7 games there. I think that's a long series. So that will be the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightnings moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Over in the West, I've got the Colorado Avalanche over the Minnesota Wild. I would say 5 games there. I don't know. I didn't do this ahead of time. On NHL.com, they only ask you for the number of games in the first round for some reason.
Weird.
So as I was just filling it out, I didn't really think about it beyond that. So we'll say 5 games, Avalanche over the Wild, getting back to that Western Conference Final. And then I have the Knights versus the Oilers. I think the Oilers sweep the Knights.
Wow.
To get to the Western Conference Finals.
Nice.
Get that broom out.
So you got the Oilers and the Avalanche.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Daniel.
All right.
What you got?
So I've got, of course, I got the Bruins and Toronto in the second round. I think the Bruins will win that in 5 games. They'll make short work of that series. The thing about the Bruins that impresses me the most after watching the last couple of games of the season, of course, they played full rosters for the last 2 games because they wanted to make history, but they are so deep in how many players they have. They had 3 of their best players out a couple weeks ago, and they still dominated the game. And their defense is second to none in the league. I don't think Bruce Cassidy was a problem there, but he's in series. I've got Carolina and New York, and this is where I make things a little interesting. I think the New York win that series in 7 games.
Ooh,
So you're gonna have Boston and New York, an old-fashioned final in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, we have Colorado and the Stars. I think Colorado's going to, again, make short work of that series. I think that'll be a 5-game victory series for them. And the Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers, that is going to be a slugfest. You've Oilers who have multiple 100-point scorers, and you've got the Golden Knights under Bruce Cassidy. I think the Golden Knights prevail in 7 games in that series. So you're going to have Colorado and Vegas in the West.
Nice.
All right. Well, good. We're all different then, moving right along here.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. So I'll start also with the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I also have the Bruins getting a victory in 5 games, be it against the Lightning. And the Hurricanes and the Devils. Give me the Devils. That's right. Devils on their way to the conference championship, shocking the world. They get the victory in 6 games over the Hurricanes. And then, of course, just upset special of the year. Seattle Kraken, what are you doing here? Going up against the Dallas Stars. I got the Stars getting the victory in that series in 5 games, moving to the Western Conference Finals. And finally, the Vegas Golden Knights against the Edmonton Oilers. I got that one as the most exciting series of the divisional round. I got the Oilers winning in 7. So I have the Oilers versus the Stars and the Bruins versus the New Jersey Devils as my conference final games.
I love it, man. We are
Yeah.
all on different pages, and
I love
I
it.
am here for it. Should make it for a very interesting Stanley Cup run. So I'm going to do both finals, and then I'll do the actual final. Just knock it all out.
Let's do it.
The Eastern Conference matchup, pretty heated rivalry over the last few years. I lived in Carolina for a while. I was directly in Hurricanes Nation, so I know how heated Tampa Bay versus Carolina is. But I'm going with the Carolina Hurricanes because those are my boys. They have a special place in my heart. I'm going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes in 7 games. I think these teams know each other well. It's going to be a slugfest, drawn-out series. So Hurricanes in 7 to go to the finals. Over in the West, Colorado, Edmonton. You've got the guys who did it last year versus the up-and-comers. But it's Edmonton. It's Edmonton all day. And I think they win in 6 because they're going to be rested, coming off of that sweep of the Vegas Knights that you guys think is going to be a long slugfest drawn-out series. I just have them sweeping, bringing out the brooms, taking that saved energy into the finals, beating the Carolina Hurricanes in 6 games. So I've got the Edmonton Oilers as your Stanley Cup champions.
Nice. I don't hate it.
Oh, all right.
I don't either.
I think I know where Daniel's going.
Yeah, I think you might. Yeah. I had the Bruins and Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Rangers at this point might be a little fatigued in this part of the playoffs, but I do think the Bruins are going to represent the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup Final in 6 games over the Rangers. In the Western Conference, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. And I think Vegas is going to take it. I think Vegas will win in 6 games as well. And it sets up the matchup of Bruce Cassidy against his old team with the Boston Bruins versus the Vegas Golden Knights. And that series will be competitive, but I'm going all in. Boston in 6.
All right.
It's theirs to lose. It's theirs to lose. So
yeah.
Indeed. Okay. Well, Boston Bruins taking on the New Jersey Devils in my bracket. That's right.
I know where this is going.
You're laughing at this Devils, but I'll tell you what. They finally lose. They lose against the Boston Bruins in 6, but they make it interesting. They bring it to 6. So the Bruins on their way to the Stanley Cup Final. The Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals. I'm going with the Dallas Stars. I have no reason why. I just, again, that's just the way the cards fell when I was filling this thing out. I got the Dallas Stars beating Edmonton in 7. So 2 long series in both conference finals games. Boston Bruins versus the Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup Final. Do I have the Dallas Stars doing it, getting the upset? No, I do not. I have the Boston Bruins getting the win and lifting that big, goofy-looking Stanley Cup when all is said and done. They beat Dallas in 5. Make easy work of the Dallas Stars.
Big, goofy Stanley Cup.
It's a goofy-looking thing.
It's the greatest trophy in all of professional sports.
I'm with you there.
Down.
No, if there was a trophy ranking, Stanley Cup easily number 1.
I'm a little biased because that's the only professional sports trophy I've ever held, but
Right. That's why you like it so much, Daniel, because you held it.
Well, if we went by that standard, I'd have to say the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open soccer trophy is my favorite. That's number one over the Stanley Cup. Everybody knows that.
Everybody
When
knows.
you think trophy, you think the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup trophy. Everybody.
Yes.
That's the first thing that pops in your head. All
Uh,
right, so we ended up sharing the Bruins as our champion. I picked the Bruins like 3 months ago to win this thing because I filled out that championship parlay, which all fell to shit when Alabama blew it in the NCAA tournament. But I still I'm still just thinking that the Bruins are just that much better than everybody else in the field right now. This year, it's their year to do it. And I don't like Boston sports.
No,
So
I was going to
I'm not
bring that
either.
up.
No,
I know that Brandon, if you had to rank your two least favorite sports cities, it's probably Dallas and Boston, right?
Yeah. So
I think Philly's number one for me, but
Philly,
I-
Philly.
Yeah.
Philly, but yeah, they didn't play a role, obviously.
Well, no.
They're with the
Bunch of
Caps.
losers.
They
Hanging
got a
out on
long
the
way to
sidelines.
go.
But yeah, I mean, trust me, I wanted every reason for the New Jersey Devils to go all the way, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't have Jersey beating Boston. Hope I'm wrong.
Don't sleep on New Jersey. Vanacek had a career year this year, so he's going to be there. He's going to be their goalie. They ride to the end. So
I think if I went with my heart, over my head, I would have definitely gone with the Devils and the Kraken in the final. Just off the wall. Are you kidding me? Type final. But I feel like I went with the safer bet with Dallas and Boston. So we shall see.
Yep.
The first game is when? Monday? Daniel?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
They start on Monday. Yep. Everybody will play game one by, I think, Wednesday. So yeah, but it's gonna move. It's gonna move at a fast pace. So
okay, well,
right on.
There we go. So there are our 2023 NHL Stanley Cup playoff predictions. Let's move right along to the NBA playoff predictions. And Josh, you want to get us kicked off on this one also? Why not?
Why not, right? If I started off NHL, I'll start off NBA. Starting in the East, of course, because the East is the best coast. We're going to go with the matchup of the Bucks and the Heat first. Two veteran teams, like two of the oldest teams in the league. I like the Bucks, though. I think that the Heat are just going to be tired. I like the matchup. I'm going with the Bucks in 5. Next up, we've got the Cavs and the Knicks. I said earlier, I think it was before the season, I said the Cavs are going to be the Celtics of this year.
Okay.
They did it. They're going to continue to do it. The Cavs are going to beat the Knicks in 5 games. 76ers Nets. The Nets are trash. The 76ers I don't necessarily love either, but they are loaded. They're stacked. You can't deny it. So I've got the 76ers in, that's right, 5 games.
5-5-5, right?
5-5-5. Clearly wasn't thinking that through when I filled it out. Just went with my gut. Next up, Celtics, Hawks. I love the Hawks. They're a young, up-and-coming, go-getter team, but the Celtics are, you could make a case that they're the best team in the entire NBA. So I'm going to go with the Celtics, getting the broom out, sweeping the Hawks. Unfortunately, just not enough firepower from the Hawks, although I do like them. I think next year they could be a legitimate contender if they hold on to all their pieces. Moving over to the West, the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves. It's got to be the Nuggets, man. They've been doing it all year. Best record in the West. T-Wolves are kind of in shambles. The Rudy Gobert thing, it's messy. It's very messy in Minnesota. That's a hockey town. So give me the Nuggets to bust out the brooms, get a little sweep action going.
Ooh.
Next up, the Suns and Clippers. I would say that this would be a much closer series if Paul George was going to play, but no Paul George for the Clippers means the Suns are going to win. But I do think it's a much I think it gets dragged out because the Suns are still kind of finding some chemistry, some rhythm with their new pieces. So I've got the Suns winning in 6 games. Next up, the Kings and Warriors. Kings are kind of the surprise team of the league this year. Again, young, really great shooting, high scoring team, but they don't play any defense. And I think to win in the playoffs, you've got to play defense. The Warriors obviously have the pedigree. They won it all last year. They've 4 out of the last 8, I think they've won. So give me the Warriors to win in 6. And then Grizzlies, Lakers. Man, this was a tough one, but I've been high on the Grizzlies all year. I kind of backed off after the John Morant bullshit was popping off, but
yeah.
And the Lakers are coming on strong. I said it right after they made that Westbrook trade. Like, they're going to be legit. So it's a 7-game series, this one, and it could go either way. But I'm going to lean for the Grizzlies to pull it off because I think John Morant is just going to be unstoppable. I don't think there's anybody that can slow him down. So give me the Grizzlies to win that series in 7 games.
So only one upset in terms of seeding for you for the first round.
Oh, yeah. A very chalky first round for me.
Okay.
In fact, my East is incredibly chalky.
All good.
Not a lot of upsets. I think it's harder to upset in the NBA. They're just, the teams are so top heavy that it's really hard to get through them.
All right, Daniel.
All right. I've got Milwaukee taking pretty quick care of the Heat, and I have that in 5 games. Cleveland, just too much for New York. New York's just not there yet. I have Cleveland also in 5 games. For Philadelphia and Brooklyn, I think this might be a little bit closer series. So I have the higher seed winning. I have Philadelphia winning in 6. For Boston and Atlanta's lucky to be there. I'm going to a 4-game sweep by Boston in that series.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. So in the West, Denver, too much for Minnesota. I have Denver in 5. The Suns and the Clippers, I think the Suns are going to make very short work of the Clippers, and I think that's going to be a sweep. Even though it's a 4-5. Even though it's a 4-5. Here's where it gets interesting for me. Sacramento and Golden State. I have Golden State in 6.
Okay.
I just think playoff experience really looms large in this series. And it depends, but really it depends on which Steph Curry you get, and hopefully they can take off. But Memphis and the Lakers, I think LeBron's on a mission, and I think the Lakers will win that in 7 games.
Okay. All right. Well, as I mentioned before we got the show started, I had to make some minor adjustments to my bracket because one team was left out and one team was involved in 2 separate series. So that wouldn't have worked. So I had to fix it, and it did make some dramatic changes to the early goings of the playoffs, but it didn't affect the East. I got the Milwaukee Bucks also making easy work of the Miami Heat. Get the brooms out. They're getting the Buck brooms because they're going to win in 4. The Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Knicks. You guys both feeling good about the Cavs. Josh knows a lot more than me. Watches a lot more basketball.
Oh, yeah.
which is why I went with the Knicks in 7. Yeah, that's right. They're going to shock the world. Nobody has the Knicks advancing, I'm sure.
I don't hate that. Cleveland's a very young team, so I could see that happening.
Spike Lee has them advancing.
There you go. Spike Lee, of course. Yeah. If they win that series, I will dress as Spike Lee for an upcoming Brash Sports episode. So
I was going to say, I thought you were going to call Spike Lee and have him on the show, but
we'll try that. But he's been a difficult man to get a hold of. He just ignores all of Brash's
Ha-
calls
ha- have
constantly
you
and
ha-
emails.
have your people call his people? You know.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. We'll get Cindy on it, stat. All right, the 76ers Brooklyn Nets. This one I actually had to hesitate on because I'm not confident in either of these two teams. But just from the little I've seen this season, I feel like the Sixers will get the best of the Nets in a 7-game series. Give me the Sixers in 6. That's right, Sixers in 6. And finally, of course, the Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks. Um, I think it would shock the world if the Hawks were able to advance past Boston. And I'm going with the Celtics in 5. I do think the Hawks get a win in there, but Boston's just simply too much for the young Atlanta Hawks. Denver Nuggets against the Timberwolves. I feel really good about the Nuggets. Josh, you mentioned to me the other day that they've pretty much been on the top spot of the West for a majority of the season, right? For like at least half.
More than half, yeah.
Yeah, so give me the Nuggets in 5 over the Wolves. Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers. I got a soft spot in my heart for the Suns. I just have always wanted to see the Suns make it, just win the whole damn thing. Clippers, not so much. So I'm going with the Suns in 6, advancing past the LA Clippers. Sacramento Kings and Golden State Warriors. This is the one where I was like, oh, I'm surprised the Warriors aren't in it. And Josh's like, no, they are. And that's when I realized I had a big screw up on my bracket. So this changes things dramatically because not only do I have the Warriors advancing, I got them getting the brooms out and sweeping the Kings. That's right.
Oh,
The firepower for the Golden State Warriors just a little too, for the Sacramento Kings just a little bit too much. They can't handle it. Or the firepower of the Warriors too much for the Kings. There we go. And Memphis Grizzlies and the LA Lakers. I can't stand the Lakers. I didn't like the Lakers before they even had LeBron. And I felt pretty good about Memphis all season. So give me Memphis. LA's not gonna, let them off too easy. I got Memphis winning in 6. So there's my first round of the NBA playoffs.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, back in the East, we've got the Bucks and the Cavs. It's a classic tale of experience versus young up and comers. I'm going to lean with the experience in the playoffs. I think the Cavs are just a year or two behind, and they're going to have to look into the future because I have the Bucks winning that series in 6 games. Next up, 76ers, Celtics. Celtics are just on a roll. They're going to be impossible to stop. The 76ers just never can seem to get it done in the playoffs. They've got the manpower. They should be able to beat this team, but they won't. Celtics are going to win that series in 5 games, and people in Philly are going to just call for heads to roll. It's going to be hilarious. Over in the West, Nuggets Suns matchup is probably the best matchup of this entire round of games. But I think the Suns are going to feel really gelled after that series against the Clippers. They're going to figure it out. They're going to bust the brooms out against the number 1 seed and sweep the Nuggets in 4 games, which I don't think a lot of people are going to be shocked that the Suns win, but how they win is going to shock people. 4-game sweep, Suns in 4. That guy's a legend, so I had to have Suns in 4 for at least one of these series. Next up, Warriors, Grizzlies. Man, this one was really tough because you got to love the Warriors. You got to love their pedigree, all their players, Hall of Famers. But the Grizzlies are just going to keep rolling. And I think that it's another 7-game series that the Grizzlies are involved in, and I think they take them down in 7 games. The biggest thing for me is the home court advantage. Warriors have been awful on the road all season long. Grizzlies take them down.
So I think I screwed up again because I thought it was the lowest seed plays the highest seed.
No, this
No.
bracket.
That's
no,
NFL.
What the hell? So what's the advantage of being the number 1 seed?
Well, if you're the number 1 seed, you're guaranteed to not have to play the number 2 seed until the conference
Right.
finals potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, that doesn't change too much for me. I just have to
Okay.
flip a Rooski a couple of teams there, but either way, I'm still confident in the amount of games. So, man,
All right.
it was such a nice, neat little bracket I had, and now there's scribbles and marks all over it. It's a mess, which is why this thing's gonna hit. All right. So Milwaukee Bucks against the Cinderella team, the New York Knickerbockers. Give me the Bucks in 5, making easy work of the Knicks. Their fairy tale run comes to an end. 76ers against what many would consider probably the favorite in the East, and the Boston Celtics. Give me Boston also getting the win in 5 games against the Sixers. Flipperooski, the Denver Nuggets against the Phoenix Suns. Again, this doesn't really change too much, but I want to pick Phoenix so bad here, but I'm going with the Nuggets. Nuggets get the win in 7. Long, drawn-out series there. And finally, Golden State against the Memphis Grizzlies. Another, potential for very long series, but I think Memphis shocked them and they win in 5.
Wow.
And they show that, Memphis is going this way and Golden State might be going that way. Golden State might be a thing of the past and the Memphis Grizzlies may be a team of the future. So,
okay.
So I got it setting up with the Denver Nuggets and Memphis Grizzlies in the conference final, along with the Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics in the East.
All right.
So now we will make our picks all the way through, Josh.
Did we skip Daniel?
Yes, you did.
Oh, my God. Oh, sorry. Sorry, buddy.
I am here.
You should have stopped me like right when I started. I mean, feel free to chime in, my friend.
I didn't realize it until you were halfway through.
I just started and I didn't think twice about it. I think the Flipperooski, threw me off. So.
That's okay. That's all right. So I have Milwaukee against Cleveland. I have Milwaukee winning that series in 6. And Philadelphia and Boston, I think that's also going to be a 6-game win. But for the Boston Celtics, I just think they're too good. So it's going to set up Milwaukee and Boston in the Eastern Conference. Denver and Phoenix, again, this is a tough this is just going to be a tough series. But I'm going to pick Denver in 7 over the Phoenix Suns. And the last series is a classic brawl between the Golden State Warriors and the LA Lakers. I have Golden State in 7.
Okay.
So you have Denver versus Golden State in the West, and Milwaukee and Boston in the East.
Right on.
So we're all of our Eastern Conference is pretty much going Milwaukee, Boston, and that's not so. I think 99% of people who are looking at it are saying the same thing. These two teams have been just dominating the East all season long. So now it comes down to who is going to win that matchup in the East. Is it going to be Milwaukee? Is it going to be Boston? You could flip a coin. I personally think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks taking down the Boston Celtics in 7 games, back and forth and back and forth. I think, to me, they have a 51% chance if we're talking about flipping coins because of that home field or home court advantage. So they're going to have that game 7 in Milwaukee, and that's the only thing giving an edge to the Bucks in my mind. So I like Milwaukee to win in 7. Over in the West, Suns Grizzlies should be a really, really fun matchup. I do have the Suns beating the Nuggets in 4 games, meaning they had a little time to rest here. Grizzlies are going to be coming off back-to-back 7-game series. That gives an advantage to the Suns in my mind. I think the Suns, with their experience, go ahead and win that series in 5 games, making the NBA Finals the Bucks and the Suns, just all types of star power in that. You got, my opinion, the best player in the league in Giannis going up against Kevin Durant, who's probably the best scorer ever in the NBA, plus Devin Booker, plus Chris Paul. Loaded series. I think it'll be the most entertaining NBA Finals we've had in a long time. The winner comes out of the East. It's the Milwaukee Bucks taking them down. Bucks in 6 is my pick. Milwaukee. Don't let me down this year. I think I picked the exact same thing last year. Don't let me down, guys.
Now that's the same final we had, what, 2 seasons ago? The Bucks.
No, I think it was
Suns?
last year. I think last year I picked Oh, you're talking about that already happened? Yes,
Yeah.
I think that was 2 years ago.
Okay. And of
So
course,
revenge.
Bucks got the better of them
right
in that one also. So all
right.
right,
Suns
all
want
right.
revenge. They're not going to get it.
All right. That kicks off a little rivalry between Phoenix and Milwaukee at that point. If they can't get over that Milwaukee hump. Milwaukee hump. Sounds like the name of a really bad song. All right, everybody, time for the Milwaukee hump. All right, Daniel. Before I skip you again.
I was going to say,
let's give the man a chance to speak.
How do I beat the Milwaukee hump? I mean,
you can't.
So we got Milwaukee and Boston in the East. It's going to be a classic battle between 2 very good teams. Excuse me. And I think at the end of the day, I think Boston's going to win it in 7. So we got Boston conference. And in West, I have Denver, Golden State. I think this is where the Golden State train gets derailed pretty badly. I think Denver's going to win that in 5 games. So that would pit Denver against Boston. And I mean, I hate being, I hate doing the Boston theme here, but I have Boston in 6 over Denver.
Wow.
Double
Damn.
Boston.
I know. I'm surprised as you are, you know.
Man, well, I, of course, looking at it, conference finals, literally as chalky as you could get.
Yeah.
1 and 2, and both sides, Milwaukee versus the Celtics. I also have a 7-game series. I think we all agree on that in the Eastern Conference Finals. I got Boston getting the better of the Bucks in 7. I don't know. I just feel like I got nothing. I was going to say, I feel like they got a better home field advantage, but they still wouldn't have the home field advantage because the Bucks got that over them. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, going with my heart, I want the Bucks, because I don't care about Milwaukee and not a Boston fan. But yeah, once again, here we go. Another Boston team making it to the finals. And my other 1 and 2 seeds in the Western Conference, Denver Nuggets and the Memphis Grizzlies. I got this one ending in 6. Give me the Memphis Grizzlies making it to the NBA Finals. Memphis Grizzlies, Boston Celtics. This one goes to 7. Going to be a great series, fun to watch. And I did it again. I did the Boston double. I'm sorry. I know.
You guys,
I hope I'm wrong. I want the Devils in the hockey, and I want the Phoenix Suns in basketball. That's what I want. But I tried to be a little bit more reasonable here, okay, and realistic. So, there we go. So Daniel and I share both Boston teams,
Yeah.
getting the
Don't-
trophy.
Don't you feel dirty after doing that? I mean, yeah, you know.
Yeah, of course. It's a bummer, but whatever. I mean, again, I just think it's Boston's year. Boston's year until the NFL season rolls around.
You guys went double Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Milwaukee and Edmonton. So just sports franchise staples.
That's true.
Winning it all.
Big time.
Big time.
The bright lights. The bright lights. The bright lights of Milwaukee.
Doing the Milwaukee hump.
Doing the Milwaukee hump all the way to the championship. Good for them.
All right, boys. Great brackets. Great episode.
All right.
Let's see how it all plays out.
There it is. There's your Brash Plus exclusive for our NBA and NHL bracket predictions. We're going to keep this going year after year as long as we possibly can. And I'll try to do better at paying closer attention to my brackets before we get started. Make sure I don't have one team participating in two different series. And
hold that thing up. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the chicken scratch.
There we go. Here it is.
Oh,
there it is. Look at that. Yeah, that's right.
That's good.
Right. Oh, but look how nice and clean the hockey one is. Look at that. That's what a bracket's supposed to look like right there.
That first bracket looks like my NCAA bracket, you know.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, hopefully we all do a lot better with our professional sports playoff predictions than we do our NCAA basketball predictions. But
right.
You never know. And again, these are my picks, but I hope I'm wrong when it comes to the champion, because I'm okay with Boston getting knocked out right away. Doesn't matter what the sport is. So,
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for hopping in, getting this done.
All right.
And we got the first games in the NBA tonight, so I'll be watching closely to see how right or wrong we are. But I guess we really won't know, and for at least another week if we're headed in the right track or not, and getting that Milwaukee hump. So, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
All right.